In this video, I'll provide some guidance on the Chapter 8 homework and some of the insurance tools available in Canvas. So here we are on the Week 8 module, and so you can see I have now reorganized our formulas and files to appear before the homework. And if you go ahead and click into here, you'll see now that I've got a link to the PowerPoint slides that you're about to see that provides homework examples for the chapter. And then here I've now numbered them specifically so that you can see which formulas apply for which homework questions, which are generally in the order of appearance. And then down at the bottom, I also have some Excel tools that you might be interested in for personal use when it comes to managing your insurance policies. So let's go ahead and look at some of the homework examples. So the first problem covers claims versus coverage. Most home insurance policies cover jewelry for $1,000 and silverware for $2,500, unless items are covered with additional insurance. If $4,500 worth of jewelry and $6,000 worth of silverware were stolen from a family, what amount of the claim would not be covered by insurance? So here is the formula that we would use to calculate our claims versus coverage. And this is similar to the homework problem you'll see, although there will be slightly different numbers. So what we first want to do is pull out the information from the story. So the value of the jewelry was $4,500. Our coverage or our limit was $1,000. The silverware claim or the amount that was stolen was $6,000, and the silverware limit is $2,500. Now you'll notice that the formula language versus the story language are not exact because in real world, we don't all talk in the same exact language. Rather, we have to understand the difference between a claim and a limit. And in the scenario or in real life, when we're experiencing something, we should understand the concepts that it relates to. So once we've broken out our pieces in our problem, so let's go ahead and take out our calculator and plug in our numbers now that we've pulled them out from the story. And so when I solve for the jewelry side, I get 3,500. And when I solve for the silverware side, subtracting our two numbers, I also get 3,500. Just a coincidence. Now, for the uncovered portion of the claim then, when we add the two numbers, that will be $7,000. What this suggests is that the family might consider revising their insurance policy to have additional coverage in the future. As you can see, their coverage did not fully cover the lost goods. The second homework problem has us looking at the actual cash value coverage. So what amount would a person with actual cash value coverage receive for 2-year-old furniture destroyed by a fire? The furniture would cost $2,000 to replace today and had an estimated life of 5 years. So the formula that we're going to use to figure out the insurance payment is the replacement costs minus depreciation. And so our replacement cost is the $2,000 stated in the story of what we would replace today. And then for depreciation, we'll take the $2,000 divided by 5 because you've got 5 years, times 2 because it's 2-year-old furniture. And so when I plug that into my calculator, I'll make sure to work on the depreciation side first and then subtract that from the replacement cost. I get $2,000 minus my depreciation of $800. And so the person would receive $1,200 for the destroyed furniture. Let's look at replacement costs. What would it cost an insurance company to replace a family's personal property that originally cost $25,000? The replacement costs for the items have increased by 15%. So here's the formula that we'll use to find our replacement cost. We'll take the original cost of $25,000 and we'll multiply it by 1 plus our inflation rate or the increased percentage of 15. So we'll write in 0.15 because that's the way we write the decimal version of a percentage. If you type in your calculator 15%, it should also work that way as well. So we'll go ahead and solve, and what I like to do is work on this side first so it's clean and simple. So we're just going to carry that 1 plus the 0.15 to make it 1.15. And then when I multiply that against my original cost, we get $28,750 for the amount of money that the company would replace. Let's look at insurance payments and deductibles. For each of the following situations, what amount would the insurance company pay? So here's the formula that you would use for each of the 3 scenarios. In order to find our insurance payment, we will have to determine which is the maximum of the 2 numbers. The first number being our claim amount minus the deductible versus 0. So whichever is the higher of the 2 numbers, that will let you know what the insurance company will pay. So in part A, we have wind damage of $835 and the insured person has a $500 deductible. So we'll go ahead and take the claim amount of $835 minus the $500, which is our deductible, and then compare that against zero. So when I go ahead and subtract these two numbers, I get $335 versus $0. And so whichever is the higher of the two, that's what the insurance payment will be. So in this case, the insurance will pay $335, meaning you are responsible for the $500 deductible. In Part B, we've got the theft of a stereo worth $1,150, and the insured has a $250 deductible. Using the same process we did in Part A, we'll go ahead and subtract the stereo's worth of $1,150 minus our deductible of $250, and we'll compare it against zero. And so when I subtract my two numbers, I get 900, and because 900 is greater than zero, that's what the payment will be by the insurance company. In Part C, we have vandalism to a home of $425, and the insured has a $500 deductible. Using the same process as Part A and B, we'll go ahead and take our claim of $425 minus the deductible of $500 and compare it to zero. When I subtract these two numbers, I get a negative $75. So when I compare negative 75 to zero, the higher of the two numbers is zero. In this situation, the insurance company will make no payout for the vandalism to the home since it is under the $500 deductible, meaning the homeowner must pay for the damages themselves. Now, as a refresher, when it comes to motor vehicle bodily injury coverages, it's expressed as three numbers. For example, it'll be listed as 100/300/50. So the first number covers the maximum paid for injuries to any one person. The second number is the maximum paid for all injuries to all individuals. That's more than two people. And the last number is for the property damage. So let's go ahead and look at an example. From the homework, Kurt has 50, 100, and 15 for our auto insurance coverage. One evening, he loses control of his vehicle and hits a parked car and damages a storefront. Damage to the parked car was $5,400 and damage to the store was $12,650. What amount will the insurance company pay for the damages? What amount will Kurt have to pay? So we've got our two formulas here, and we're going to focus on what the insurance will cover first. So we need to identify what the damage claim amount is versus the policy limit. So for the damage claim, we're going to add up the damage to the parked car and the damage to the store, and then compare it to the policy limit of $15,000. That came from the third number in our auto insurance coverage right here, the 15. When I add these two numbers for our damage claims, I get $18,050, and we will compare that to the policy limit of $15,000. The insurance will pay whichever is the lower amount of the two. And so when I compare these two numbers, the lower amount is the $15,000. In that case, we'll have to see how much Kurt owes. So the personal liability for Kurt is going to be the damage claim amount that we calculated above, minus what the insurance payment will be above as well. So we'll take the $18,050 and we'll subtract the $15,000 covered by insurance, meaning Kurt will have to pay $3,050 to cover the damages he caused when he hit the car and the store. Let's look at personal property insurance coverage. When Carolina's house burned down, she lost household items worth $50,000. Her house was insured for $160,000, and her homeowner's policy provided coverage for personal belongings up to 55% of the insured value of the house. Calculate how much insurance coverage Carolina's policy provides for her personal possessions and whether she will receive payment for all of the items destroyed in the fire. So here are the two formulas that we will be using for this problem. So the first, we have to figure out what the personal property coverage or the policy limit is. So we'll take our building coverage and we'll multiply it by the personal property coverage percent. So we'll take the $160,000, because that was what her house was insured for, and we'll multiply it by the 55% in the story. That gives us a policy limit of $88,000, or the amount of coverage for her personal property. Next, we'll have to figure out the insurance payment. What we'll do is compare the damage claim that actually was incurred versus the policy limit, or the coverage available. So we'll take the claim of $50,000. That was from here. She lost household items worth $50,000. And we'll compare it to the policy limit we calculated above. The insurance company will pay the lower of the two. So that'll be the $50,000, and Carolina would have all of her household items covered. Let's look at the last problem on annual discounts. Dave and Ellen are newly married and living in their first house. The yearly premium on their homeowner's insurance policy is $450 for the coverage they need. Their insurance company offers a 5% discount if they install deadbolt locks on all exterior doors. The couple can also receive a 2% discount if they install smoke detectors on each floor. They have contacted a locksmith who will provide and install deadbolt locks on the 2 exterior doors for $60 each. At the local hardware store, smoke detectors cost $8 each, and the new house has 2 floors. Dave and Ellen can install them themselves. What discount will Dave and Ellen receive if they install the deadbolts? What discount will they receive if they install smoke detectors? So we've got our annual discounts for deadbolts and our annual discount for smoke alarms formulas right here, which is simply the discount percent that is offered times the annual premium. For our deadbolts, we were told that we would get a 5% discount. So we'll go ahead and take our 5% or 0.05 and we'll multiply it by the annual premium mentioned above, the 450. When I plug that into my calculator, we'll get an annual discount of $22.50 for having deadbolts. And then we'll do the same process for smoke alarms. For the smoke alarms, the discount percentage was offered at 2% or 0.02, and our annual premium is the 450 still. So when I multiply these two numbers, my annual discount for smoke alarms is $9. In the Chapter 8 Homework Formulas and Files page, there's also a link to some of the Excel tools that you might be interested in. So on the first tab here, this helps you keep track of all of your insurance policies or lets you know to consider what insurance policies you might want to get. We'll actually be covering disability and health insurance in later chapters. If we click on the second tab, this will help you figure out how much property insurance you might need, whether it's the real property of a home or personal property here. And there are some useful links that'll show you how to calculate what the values would be that you could plug into here. You'll also want to check whether it's actual cash value or replacement value, and make note of any additional coverage you might need, in particular jewelry, firearms, silverware, or equipment. And then if we scroll down, you'll also want to identify what personal liability coverage you might want or any other specialized coverages. If we look at the last two tabs, this is actually an Excel version of the insurance comparison assignment, which I have a separate video for. So if you prefer working in Excel and using this to do your insurance comparison, you can. So if you just scroll down, you'll see what types of information you'll need to consider for apartment home insurance. If you look at the automobile insurance, the same idea. There's a table that you could fill out in terms of the different coverage requirements and deductibles for automobile insurance. So if you have any questions, just let me know.